Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.
Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If you are interested to check out the AI-powered signal service, I'm going to share the link to the community Telegram to Zentrix, the project we've recently launched focusing on AI-powered tools and a lot more development on that in the future. Other kind of miniature projects within that, more announcements to be had, so do look out for that. You can find out more information in the Telegram I just shared, but if you are looking for the AI-powered signal service, check out the Telegram, go to the pinned messages at the top, and at the bottom of that you should see the link to the signal service. So if you are interested to check it out, check out the Telegram, go to the pinned messages, and you should see it at the bottom. But hope everyone is doing well this Tuesday morning or afternoon, or maybe even evening, depending where you are in the world. Hope everyone is doing good. What's up, Tony Gold? Welcome to another stream. Dre, what's up, my man? Good morning. Hope you're doing good. Yusuf, good morning. Hope you're well. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. What's up, Danny? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yep, crazy weekend in terms of news. A lot of that coming our way. Definitely need to stay on top of that because, yeah, you don't want to be trading directly into some news. You got the NFP on Friday, Fed interest rate. Pretty sure you got Bank of Canada as well, maybe. So, yeah, definitely need to keep tabs on that. Raphael, yes, we'll take a look at pound yen. First, as always, I'll go through the USD side of things. We'll take a look at the dollar, DXY, USD majors, gold, and silver. Any requests, drop it in the chat, and I will get to it. Excuse me. Nice to get a sneeze out of the way. So yeah, I'll go through USD side of things first. If you do have any requests, let me know. Of course, let me know any time frames as well. So yeah, I will go through pound yen on the 30-minute time frame. But if you do have a specific pair and a specific time frame you want me to take a look at, let me know. Most of the time I'm in the 4-hour daily chart, but if you do want me to drop a little bit lower or higher, let me know. But to get things started, we will go to the DXY, not the DYX. So the DXY, we were pretty bullish yesterday. Pretty bullish. Let's go to the daily chart. As you can see, a pretty confident bullish candle. So it does look like USD is turning around. And this is what we were discussing yesterday. I said I wasn't going to really do anything with the dollar until I see that daily candle close, because we were coming into an area where we have seen a lot of prior support and resistance so I kind of want price to kind of give me that confirmation with that big bullish candle yesterday, breaking above, and also pretty much putting in a higher low as well. We've got the lower lows here, which price has been making as we've been trending down, of course. Now it looks like price is putting a higher low. We're coming back into resistance. We've actually just wicked through that. So technically it's a higher high, not established yet with a strong closure above, but it looks like price is seeing some upside past that point. So to me, it looks like somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern. You got the left shoulder over here, you got the head, and you got the right shoulder there. So if I draw it out, something a bit more obvious there, and of course that would be your neckline. If that does snap, that is to me the equivalent of a break of structure. We'll be looking at a higher low and then another higher high, maybe back to some of these areas. They could be some nice targets to aim for. So to me, it does look like dollar is reversing here. We've been talking about this for quite a while, probably for the past month now, saying that, okay, the dollar has been falling very well. We've been in a nice bearish trend pretty much as soon as the year turned to 2025, pretty much, we have been falling. But we're seeing some signs that the trend is running out of steam. We're seeing more corrective behavior, frequent pullbacks, not as much momentum anymore. And those are signs that the market is starting to run out of steam and perhaps could be looking at some upside. Again, not necessarily saying complete reversal, as I'm expecting price to completely push to the upside now. I'm just expecting at least a deeper retracement. We haven't really seen many of them. This is probably the deepest retracement we've had. So I do think we can see somewhat of a deeper retracement for the dollar, which maybe turns bearish in the future. We'll have to wait and see as we get more information, more candlesticks print, or maybe it does turn into a reversal. The beauty of being a trader is, irrespective whether it is a reversal or not, there's opportunities regardless of what price is doing. But at the moment, which is the most important thing, it does look like price is now putting in some higher lows and about to put a higher high in. So now I'm favoring more upside in the dollar. It would be very nice to see if we can come back and actually retest this same level here as support. Let's see if we can rally a little bit further, come back and test it, maybe put the next high low there. That would be a great confluence for the trade. But we'll see. It doesn't need to be there. But the plan is now higher high, higher low, looking for some more upside in the next few days now. So taking that information into Euro USD, which is pretty much doing the exact same thing but flipped, you can see again very corrective uptrend. Looks to me that price now is putting a lower high. The only awkward thing with Euro is that we are coming back into a pretty big level of prior resistance, now turned support. So again, this is not really a place which I want to be looking to sell into. We had that humongous candle yesterday, which didn't really provide much of an opportunity to trade, especially intraday, because we had that lovely breakout of the consolidation. I think that was just before I went live. So yeah, as soon as we had that breakout, I was speaking about some pullback yesterday to retest that consolidation and get a lovely continuation. We did see that, but just not the pullback, unfortunately. So difficult to find entries. And again, that's sometimes one of the downside about waiting for pullbacks, is that they don't always happen. Sometimes you get breakouts and price just continues to fall or continues to fly, which is one of the positives of taking breakouts, is that you're pretty much guaranteed an entry because you're just waiting for price to break out and that is your entry. But of course, you're more prone to fake outs as well. So there's pros and cons to everything, really. It's just about picking your poison and then getting good at it. But yeah, in this case, Euro, lovely break to the downside. We are testing support now. Pretty big wick there on the 4-hour chart as well. You can see big piercing wick, and of course, taking it into context where we're trading, it's a pretty big level of support. So I wouldn't be too surprised if Euro does go through a bit of a rally. But the key thing I'll be looking for is that next lower high, of course. You've got one over there, second over there. I would be looking for a third one. I mean, it would be very nice to see price actually pull back and retest this consolidation. That would be a really nice pullback to retest that. And possibly get the third lower high. In fact, that would be the only area which I would actually look to short from, because this is bullish territory. We're testing major support. There's no other kind of critical level of supply or resistance that jumps out at me, which I would be happy to sell from. So it would actually only be this area. Yeah, so if we could see a pullback to that, I quite like the shorts there for Euro. If not, if we just keep up this momentum and end up breaking through, there could be some nice shorts on the other side of that, on the break and retest of that same level. So that could be something to look into, but of course we have to break through that level first. As of right now, still holding a support, so maybe this might be our best opportunity, but we'll see as we get more information and more candlesticks print. All I can say is I'm expecting us to see more downside for Euro. It looks like DXY is going to see more upside. They're both very inversely correlated. I think Euro is probably going to see some downside as well, especially with the fact of us putting in lower highs. So yeah, Euro, I do fancy more downside, but of course right now we're heading to support. So wait for some pullbacks or a break and retest. Pound USD looks really good, I can't lie as well. Even better than Euro, arguably. Actually, not really arguably, it does look a lot better than euro. We just snapped through the lows there as well, so it looks like that head and shoulder has been fully kind of cemented into the market there. Left head, right shoulder, that's your neckline. We've just about got to snap through that. But the key thing is, again, we're getting lower highs in now after we were getting higher highs in. So the plan now is to look for a pullback and some more downside. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago about this being a target if we do sell off a pound. That's still very much where I'm expecting price to get to, 1.32. If I drop to the 4-hour chart, yeah, the only tricky thing about pound is where do I look to sell it from? Not as clear cut as euro. Euro had a very nice consolidation and a sharp breakout, so that would definitely be a nice place to sell. Of course, you kind of got the origin of this kind of move here. So this last area it is going to be acting as area of supply, so that could be a nice place for a short. It's not as obvious as Euro USD, but it's still a place where supply has come from, momentum has come from. If we tap into that area again, we could see more selling pressure into the market and some more downside. There's a brief area here, but it's not significant enough for me to get excited. Not to say that price can't react from this area and continue, but it's not enough for me to jump into a trade, especially on like the 4-hour chart, which is where I do majority of my entries. So yeah, pound USD in terms of entries, that's kind of where I struggle. I like this area here, just euro looks a little bit better. Yeah, I think in terms of like the entry side of things, euro looks a lot better. In terms of the actual setup, I prefer pound. So a bit of contradiction between the two. But again, they're both very, very similar. They're going to do the same thing mostly. So it doesn't really matter which one you trade. It's just about finding a good opportunity with a good entry, good stop loss, etc. So with pound USD, I would keep an eye on both of these areas. Again, I would like a slightly bigger breakout and pullback before shorting, especially on a 4-hour chart. So this is something I'd probably drop to like an hourly or even a 30-minute chart for to trade. This is something I could trade on a 4-hour chart, big enough pullback, healthy area of supply, nice drop from that area. So something like this, I could see myself looking to get involved at. Something like this, I would need to drop to like an hourly or 30-minute chart to make the risk reward and the entry make a bit more sense. But in terms of direction, definitely expecting more downside there for dollar CAD. Maybe some retracement though, because it looks like we're slowing down. Dollar CAD looking at some bullish momentum as well. I'm expecting more upside for this one. Again, if the DXY is going to see some strength, then you're pretty much banking on dollar being one of the strongest currencies there out of CAD, euro, pound, Aussie, New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. So we're expecting that to be the dominant currency. So dollar CAD, I'm looking at some upside, although CAD's been a little bit strong as well. But I do think dollar CAD can still break to the upside. We've got a big level of resistance ahead of us, so of course that needs to clear if dollar CAD really wants to get going. We respected this on quite a few occasions, originally as support over there, then resistance again, and then, well, so far resistance again. So it's been a very critical level. I think once that level breaks, then we're very much in the clear for some more upside, maybe a push back into that kind of big area of supply there. Around 1.39 would be the next sufficient target. But yeah, a break of that level is really the key thing I'm looking for. Otherwise, all we have really is a market that is consolidating, which I'm not really interested in trading at the moment. It's just kind of price just back and forth, respecting highs, respecting lows. Not really a big fan on dollar CAD's price action. But if we do break out, especially with momentum, especially with the DXY showing momentum as well, I think there could be some nice trending opportunities there. So got to keep a close eye on dollar CAD. Aussie dollar looks like it's coming to its last legs in this ascending channel. So I'm kind of getting semi-excited because I do think there'll be a sharp break to the downside. We flirted with the idea a few times, once, twice over there. A few fake outs in the lower time frames. Haven't really committed, so I'm kind of just waiting for that to happen. When price is in an ascending channel like this, most of the time we do break to the downside. We tried to rally, it failed, so yeah, I'm expecting price to break lower. So we'll see if we can get that in the next few days. I think if it does happen, there might be some nice pullback opportunities, certainly on the lower time frames. Because I'll be expecting quite a lot of momentum. So if you can get a strong break, maybe some pullback, something like this, might be some nice shorts to ride on the way down. I can see we are at the low of the channel, and we did see a nice wick there. There might be another bounce, to be honest, but I'm not interested in following Aussie dollar to the upside. It's a very, very tired market. This is not a trend which gives me confidence or excitement to follow. I want to follow healthy trends, showing momentum, healthy pullbacks, likeliness to continue, not really in this kind of circumstances. So I would stay away, anticipate more of a reversal, or at least the counter trend move in these conditions, rather than try and look to keep buying and following that trend, which is clearly very tight. Again, not to say that we can't continue for another leg, that could happen, but I'm always going to be waiting for that break lower. New Zealand dollar is pretty much the same condition, to be honest, with this one. We've got another ascending channel, maybe not as clear cut as Aussie, but we are pretty much doing the same job here, and we're pushing to the lower end of the channel as well. So this one, again, I do expect us to break to the downside eventually over the next few days. We're going to need some dollar strength for that to happen, but over the next few days, if the DXY can rally, I do think New Zealand dollar will join the party and see some downside as well. I did say there might be some buys here as we do approach the low of the channel, but again, I'll keep it very short and sweet, just like Aussie dollar. I wouldn't be looking for any prolonged move. This is not a trend which I want to follow. This is a trend which I want to see break lower. It's very tired. Go collect some more buys, and then maybe we might continue in the near future. But this is a very, very corrective market, so I really would be careful with the buys. If you do enter buys, I will keep a very close eye in terms of managing that trade, being fully prepared that momentum can shift against me at any point, really, and see a much bigger move lower. So there might be some short-term buys off there. I did speak about some shorts if price was to push back to the up end of the channel, but yeah, at this point in time, not looking like that we'll get up there. Gold's still just messing around, to be honest. A bit more downside yesterday. Yeah, hasn't really done anything special. I said we might see a bit of retracement before we do continue falling. It was a very strong rejection, I must say, at the high here, where we've seen quite a lot of rejection recently, once, twice, a third time, and a fourth. Price has done a very good job of respecting those areas. I said since last week, there's a couple levels which I like the look of. This level here being 1, and this level here being 2. These two levels I wouldn't mind to take a stab at the buys. All I'm really doing is just banking on the higher time frame trend continuing, just finding a healthy level of support where price has shown a lot of respect to, aka this bounce here and those two bounces over there, and just making sure that I'm kind of away from all the noise and put my stop loss in a relatively safe area, because when price is ranging, the worst thing to do is trying to get stuck in the middle and take some trades where there's a lot of fluctuation. You kind of want to be away from that. So stop losses above here, stop losses below here or here are the better places. Not that you won't get stopped out ever, of course anything can happen, but at least you're away from the noise. Simply if you just shorted that resistance here last week or the week before, last week, and if a stop loss there, pretty simple stuff. You caught a very, very nice move. Trying to get involved in the intricacies of these moves here is where you're going to give back a lot of gains, and just a very, very difficult trade to catch. A lot of trading is just about taking the smart trade, not looking for anything special really. So yeah, gold's still very interested at 32.60 and 31.40. Wait to see price get there. All we're doing is bouncing. We'll see if we can get some more rejection at those areas. And lastly, silver. Very bullish on this one too. I quite like this level just below us. Really nice resistance. Had a lovely breakout. No retest, so still relatively fresh level. Looking to see if we can return back to there, and then I can talk about some more buys. And keep it pretty simple, back to highs. I do think we can go a lot further, but if I can get a swing from here to here, I'd probably lock in majority of my gains there and just see what happens next. Because silver is running out of steam. We did see a really nice rally there. But you can see how we're moving. We're starting to see some momentum to the downside. So things are starting to dry up a little bit for silver. Still a very bullish market, especially in the higher time frames. So I'm very much still a buyer, or want to be a buyer of silver, but just being a bit more cautious with targets now because I can see some clear signs of momentum running out a little bit. We might be going for a bigger retracement at some stage. But yeah, going to keep a close eye at 37.193 and expecting a lot more upside from silver. And that's kind of sums up where I'm at with USD in general. Still looking for a lot more USD strength. Looks like that's kind of arrived in the market now, which will be interesting for gold and silver because that should mean some downside for both of them, but isn't always true. But we will see. Okay, so let's go through some requests. So Raphael Pound Jen on the 30-minute, I will take a look at. What's up, Zabane? Well, I hope you're doing good. Yusuf, Euro, Pound USD, 15. Sure thing, we'll take a look. It's going for a pullback, but it's not corrective. Okay, we'll take a look at that. Is that a pullback on the 15 you're talking about? Dima, good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. The Outlier, what's up? What's up? Hope you're well. Just curious, strategy to scalping with no risk reward in mind, just taking money out of the market. I mean, I'm never really a fan of negative risk reward. I think if you're going to take a trade, you want at least to make back what you're going to risk. If you're risking $100, you want to make at least $100 on that trade. The thing is, you might not actually make $100 in terms of, you know, maybe you took the trade with the expectation of a 1-to-1, but maybe as you're managing the trade, you know, you got some red flags, and you get out the trade early, so you walk away with $50. So, you know, looking back, it was actually a 0.5, you know, risk reward, so negative. But it's because you were managing the trade and got out early because of a valid reason. So you might be aiming for the 1-to-1, but you got out early, you know, for a good reason. And at the same time, you might be aiming for a 1-to-1, but you might have stayed a little bit longer because the market looked healthy and you end up walking away with a 1.5R or maybe a 2R on that on a specific trade. But on average, looking back across a decent chunk of data, you do want to at least be hitting 1-to-1s on average, because when you go to a negative risk reward, you're relying a lot on win rate, which is not bad because you're going to have naturally a higher win rate anyway because of the negative risk reward. But there will be times where you do hit a bit of a slump and you go a bit of a drawdown, and it's going to be a lot harder to climb out of that because, of course, your returns are going to be a lot smaller because you know, one win might be, well, probably one loss might be equivalent of 2 wins. So you're going to have to win quite a lot of trades to get out of drawdown. Whereas with a risk reward other way around, you know, potentially you could lose 3-4 trades, maybe one trade whites that out. So I think in terms of longevity, I would say you do want positive risk reward. I think that's the easier route to take. I think negative risk rewards eventually will come back to bite you. I'm not saying that you won't be profitable with it. I just think it's a slightly harder way to trade. Easy in the beginning, but it definitely gets harder when you do go through a slump, which of course is inevitable. But yeah, I would say I like scalping. I don't scalp myself, but I think scalping is a great way to trade done correctly as well. I think you want to have a target in mind. You don't want to necessarily have, you don't always want to have a specific risk reward in mind in terms of, okay, I have to hit a 1-to-2 or 1-to-3. You kind of want to manage the trade for what it is. Some trades might make sense for 1-to-3. Some trade, it might make sense to only go for a 1-to-1. You know, you want to be a little bit flexible. You don't want to just force 1-to-whatever on every trade because every trade is going to be different. So I would suggest being flexible with your risk reward. Don't just force it, be flexible with it. I would always recommend it to be positive. You know, it's worth the risk if it is positive. And scalping, you know, just like any type of trading style, you know, it can be a very, very successful method when done correctly. Not something I do though, but yeah. I wouldn't say no to it. But yeah, negative, not too sure about that long term. DAX, okay, we'll take a look at the DAX as well. Okay, pull back on the 50. Okay, I'll go through pound yen on the 30. Then we'll take a look at euro and pound USD on the 15. What's up, Campbell? Welcome. Love it, appreciate it, my man. Hope you're doing well, Campbell. Good morning. Good to have you on the stream. Hey, appreciate it, Danny. Guys, please hit the like button. We're really getting a lot from this. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It does really help out, and share it with your friends as well. Hit the bell too so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But I really appreciate that message. Danny, okay, so let's take a look at pound yen. So pound yen in somewhat of an uptrend, of course. We've been flying since the low of April, 10th of April to be exact. But we have kind of met our match a little bit, coming back into resistance. So it's either one or two things here simply. It's either this trend is going to continue or we're going to reverse pretty much, or at least go through a bigger pullback at some stage. At the moment, it's just pure consolidation, so it's kind of difficult to tell. I think it depends kind of what you're looking for as a trade. Are you looking for something more of a swing, or are you looking for kind of just a quick day trade, for the day essentially? What I'm kind of looking for personally is a strong break out of this. I'm anticipating more upside for pound yen. I do think the yen pairs still do have more upside. So I'm kind of waiting for price to clear this resistance, and then I'll start to look for some pullbacks, and then I'll look for some more buys, and that'll be my green light basically, because I'm expecting pound yen to make its way all the way back to the highs over here. So in my book, there's still a long way to go for pound yen, but we do really need to break through that resistance before I can actually really buy it. So that's really what I'm waiting for from a swing bias. From a day trading point of view, if I should drop right down to the lower time frames, I mean, you've got a lot of support here, which price keeps bouncing on. I think from a 30-minute perspective, I'm not really seeing great opportunities, to be honest with you. Yeah. You said you're looking for a long? Looking for a buy? I mean, I might look for a buy here at the low, because again, this is where we're kind of ranging. So if I'm going to take a buy, it's got to be right at the lows here, where I can get a relatively safe stop loss below the noise, try and catch a bounce off that. I wouldn't be looking to try and look for a big swing back to the upper end of the range. I'll just try and see if I can maybe catch a swing back into this area, then maybe if I'm lucky back into that area. Because when things are ranging and things are choppy, especially as they are right now, it's always best to be conservative with your targets. Not necessarily as in conservative and just take everything off, but move stops to break even, take partials, manage the trade as we go along. Because there's no momentum here. There's no kind of trend. Yes, there's a slight uptrend on the higher time frames, but we have been moving sideways for the past few days now. So it's not like when you're buying or selling here, you're taking advantage of momentum. It's more so price just hit a level which we keep bouncing from, really. So if price does get here again, I think that's a smart place for a buy. I wouldn't buy now, but I would wait for a push back into the lows here, which is roughly 197.6. And then if we can get a nice buy from there, I think this would be a sensible place to take partials at least. Then maybe more partials, or even close the position up around the 199 area. But yeah, I don't mind buys, because essentially all we're doing is fluctuating. And especially if you're just looking for a trade for a few hours, I think the buys make sense, because all you're just doing is taking a small piece of the pie. But the conditions are very choppy, so you want to be operating right at the limits, at the edges of the range. This is really one way you want to find your entries, not in the middle here. That's where you're going to get kind of caught and chopped up. But if you can be at the lows here, you have a much better entry and a much better stop loss to take advantage of the swing. So yeah, buys, I can see the sense in that, especially if you're looking for more of a short-term trade. But it is a very choppy pair, so beware. I wouldn't look for any sustained moves for pound yen. Conditions are way too choppy. Okay, where were we? Okay, so pound USD, euro on the 15. We'll take a look at DAX as well. Hey, what's up, Habinator? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Still on the sell at the moment. Okay, nice. Oh yeah, for Aussie. Waiting for it to go down to 0.645. Okay, then I'm out so far. The trade, $100. Nice, good going, my man. Yeah, I'll go take a look at that again. But yeah, Aussie looks pretty bearish to me. I think USD is now shifting completely. So hopefully that should mean some more downside for Aussie dollar as well. 0.645, I'll go take a look at that price specifically. But yeah, I do think more downside is likely with Aussie as well. So hopefully that can continue to fall. Outlier exactly no understanding and promoting that knowing pretty well. Then trades could end up blowing accounts. Yeah, I don't really see it as like a long term fix. Again, there's maybe some people out there who maybe perform well with it, but I think would be a very few people that do. And I would always recommend having a positive, even if it's just at least a 1-to-1. Risking what you're gonna make. Even that kind of makes sense because your edge could just be winning a little bit more than you lose. But yeah, having negative, I think just puts you in the back foot straight away. So I wouldn't advise that. Anyway, let's go through Euro USD. So yeah, Euro USD. Okay, I'll just start fresh because you want me to look in the 15. So with the 15, yeah, very impulsive. I see what you mean. Very, very impulsive on the pullback here. Again, I wouldn't be looking for pullback opportunities here anyway with Euro USD. Number one reason, well, actually two reasons why I wouldn't do that. Well, actually three now, because of the pullback you just mentioned, it being very impulsive. But the two main reasons why I wouldn't do that is because number one, the market is extremely overstretched. This is a very harsh bearish move, which has had very, very miniature pullbacks. So the market is very, very stretched on the 15. Not that we can't continue falling, we can, but we're just very, very stretched. So I need to see a pretty big relief in that bearish move before I do enter some more shorts. And number two, which is the biggest reason, is that we just took out this low here. And that's a pretty significant low on the 15-minute chart. So I wouldn't want to be trying to short here, knowing that last time we were here, we had a pretty big up move. So that's a no-go as well. So not only is the market overextended, we just swept some major lows, not the time to be shorting. And of course, we've just seen the reaction from that. It's pretty impulsive to the upside. So absolutely, I would not be looking to sell. I know this is somewhat of a nice consolidation. Price could hit this area, react, and maybe see some more downside, but absolutely would I not take sells here. It might happen, but we have to deal with probabilities, and I wouldn't say this is a high probability opportunity. So for Euro, I would be looking at a more kind of complex pullback, some higher highs, higher lows, some bullish structure forming, and then us eventually turning around. Maybe that might be something. Actually, let me do that again. It might look something like this. We might see a nice counter bullish trend. Maybe a double top comes into play. Maybe a nice break of structure and a break and retest comes into play. Something like this could end up being a nice trade, or taking the shorts at the highs, or even a pullback into this area, which would be very, very nice if that was to happen. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Euro, very sharp reaction. I would anticipate a much bigger pullback on the cards with Euro over the next kind of few hours, maybe a couple of days. I do expect a lot more downside for Euro, so I'm still pretty bullish. As I did suggest on the higher time frames, we have just found ourselves in a very nice level of support on the daily chart. So I would be pretty careful anyway about shorting into that. Another reason why I kind of want price to pull away to the upside first, so we're not shorting directly into some heavy daily support. But yeah, I do like the shorts for Euro. I think there's more downside to be had, but specifically in the 50-minute chart with the big sell-off we had there, we do need to see a bit of a relief. We do need to see a bit more upside before taking any shorts here. And on the flip side, there could actually be some nice buys, really, because once price is kind of faked through the lows there, we might see price come back, retest that, and see some upside. And that could look somewhat of a head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder pattern. You got the left head, right shoulder. Very weird neckline there. So somewhat of a reversal pattern. I think the buys here would make a lot more sense than the sells. I think the sells is where the bigger move is at and where probably the momentum is at. But on the flip, buys actually do make more sense here. So if you are looking to do anything with euro right now, I'd only be looking to buy it really. If you're looking to sell it, you're waiting for some type of more complex pullback before getting involved, which may take at least a day to form, I reckon. So yeah, Euro USD, expecting more downside. That's kind of what I'm looking at on the 15. Pound USD, same situation really. Yeah, pretty overextended with that leg. We did have a brief pause, so I would say we've at least had some type of kind of relief to the trend, but I would still argue we're pretty overextended. And again, we've taken out some major support here. Looking to our left, massive rally, pretty decent size rally there as well. We've just gone and taken that low out as well. So from the 50-minute point of view on pound USD, I would at least wait for us to pull back into that consolidation to retest it before looking to short. This is also a nice area up there. I think that's something I'd probably look at, something slightly in the higher time frame. So a bit more of a bigger swing trade. But in terms of the 15, a retest of that consolidation does make sense. So in terms of entries, pound USD is kind of where it's at to me. It looks a little bit cleaner. We've got a healthy kind of supply zone not too far away. And I think that would be a more appropriate place for a short. Maybe not even for a big continuation, but just for a swing back into the prior low, keeping it relatively simple. So yeah, pound USD, I like what I'm seeing. Euro, I like what I'm seeing as well. But it's a good point you did note there, Yusuf, that the pullbacks are looking quite impulsive. They're not corrective. So when you are seeing that happening, when the pullbacks are very impulsive, most of the time that means you're probably going to get a much deeper pullback. It could mean reversal as well, but I don't think it will based on the higher time frames. So impulsive pullbacks could mean reversal, but sometimes they just mean a deeper retracement is going to happen because you're seeing that strength in that initial retracement. So it probably means you're going to see more complex pullback before eventually the trend does continue. So I think we'll probably see something of that sort for both pound and both euro as well. Let me have a quick look at the DXY. I could imagine that's probably doing something similar, yeah. So that's probably going to see some downside too, again, just after taking up the highs there as well. So for the DXY, I could imagine something like this happening, and then eventually us probably continuing to the upside. So you can imagine that kind of happening for pound and that happening for euro. But yeah, good spot there, good spot. Not only looking at market structure, but how price is moving is very, very critical. I think they go hand in hand. If you're going to look at market structure, which is great, look at if the market's creating new highs or new lows or equal highs or equal lows, what price is doing on higher time frames as well. All of that is very, very important. But if you can accompany that with how price is moving as well, whilst it's doing those things, is price creating higher highs only just scraping the highs, or is it completely battering highs and creating long impulsive legs and creating new, big highs with shallow pullbacks? Those are two contradicting things, even though they're technically doing the same thing. They're both creating higher highs, but one is doing it, very tiresomely. One is doing it very, energetically with a lot of momentum. So two completely different types of trend there. So understanding how we're moving is a huge part of the game as well. And good spot, we are quite impulsive, and especially taking into consideration where we're trading at major resistance there. It does look like retracement is on the cards for the dollar, and we're kind of seeing that with other USD pairs at the moment. So yeah, I'd wait for a much deeper pullback before getting involved. Let's take a look at the DAX. Okay, so the DAX just came back into support again. Another nice reaction. We actually talked about this setup here yesterday. I think we were trading around here, weren't we? Or was it here? No, here. Yeah, we were trading around here yesterday. So I said the DAX is basically ranging, but it still is just about bullish. So the buy still makes sense at the lows here. Waiting for price just to tap into support, wait for rejection, find the entries over there. But being cautious with the management, not necessarily just buying here with the expectation that price is going to fly back to resistance or back to the highs there, but just kind of watching momentum as it progresses, You know, at the moment, let's say if you did find a buy here, I would say momentum's looking very good. The previous 4-hour candle closed very well in your favor. This candle is looking healthy, but it still does have an hour and 42 minutes before it does close. So let's make that final judgment when it does close. But if it can close similar to how it's looking, I'd say momentum's good. Maybe I might look to take some positions off because we're coming to like the 50% mark, which I know as well is going to be quite a lot of fluctuation. But it would only be a small amount. I'll take off like 20%. But at that stage also, I would move stops to break even, so there's no risk on the table anymore. Because if price was to get back here anyway, I would just look for a re-entry on the position. That would just be a new trade idea. Maybe price does break through in the next turn. So if price does get back to support here, I don't really want to be in the trade anymore. I would either look for a new trade or look for the breakout opportunity. So I'll go to break even now. I would be looking to lock in some gains there. I would be holding out to take probably most of the profit at resistance here because this is where we're kind of collecting. And then maybe I'll see if I can hold the remainder back to highs and maybe just trail actually just with the expectation that, okay, the DAX could fly. Let me see if I can take advantage of that with some remaining positions. But yeah, the DAX is looking pretty bullish now. If you're not in a trade, there's nothing really to do. I wouldn't advise jumping into a position now. The market is really, really flat here. So if you're going to find trades, you want to be at the highs, at the lows. In the middle here is where you're most likely going to lose money. So if you're looking for buys, you're kind of waiting for price to roll back over, come and test support again, and look for some more buys down there. If you're looking for shorts, which also makes sense to a degree, you can find some shorts probably higher up at 24,550, but I'd focus purely on the buys because I just know that the market is still very bullish. So, you know, if I'm looking for buys, you know, by kind of basic logic, it's difficult to go wrong. Not that you won't lose a trade, of course, but it's just, okay, if the trend's going to continue, most likely you're going to have a bit more luck with the buys. So, yeah, with the DAX, I would wait for price to push back into support before looking for a buy. At the moment, we're just in the middle of a range. That's the place you kind of want to stay away from. Okay, so let's take a look at the Aussie dollar trade Pavinator has got on. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. Took a buy in GU, but only after I got stopped, I realized it was there. Oh, for the head and shoulder pattern. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Again, you always want to be aware of the higher time frames. Market structure. Again, my advice would be start on the higher time frames, then work your way to the lower, rather than the other way around. Because the higher will give you the bigger picture, and then the lower time frame is only just taking small pieces of the pie, small pieces of that bigger picture. Sometimes if you just drop to the lower time frame straight away, you kind of just focus on that. You're oblivious to what's going on in the higher time frame. So yeah, I would say start on the high time frames, work your way down from there. That could really help in terms of spotting what the high time frames are doing. In terms of head and shoulder patterns, I mean, just beware of that kind of right shoulder potentially forming, but I wouldn't say not. Like, for example, for pound USD, that right shoulder could have formed, it might not have formed. I would imagine you were kind of buying up in this leg here, expecting price to return back to highs. Which does make sense, but we were coming back into some areas of supply here and things were looking quite corrective. It's not that I would expect a lower high to form, but we're in an area where, potentially you probably would have seen a pullback anyway. Even if we were going to push back to highs over here eventually, we probably were going to see some type of reaction. There might have been a consolidation, might have been a deep pullback, or maybe even a reversal like we saw here. But it's an area where we're probably likely to see some noise. So you want to be careful of that. Beware of the high time frames. The high time frames are there to guide you, especially if you're looking at the 15, 5 minute, even 1 minute chart to take your trades. High time frames will find you, will help guide you and protect you from areas where a lot of noise will be. Because all trading is just making smart decisions, buying in the right areas, selling in the right areas. You don't be buying into areas where a lot of sellers could enter the market. Doesn't really make sense, really. And of course, vice versa. So you want to be a bit careful of that. And I think an easy fix really is just looking at the higher time frames first and just spending a bit of time on there before dropping to the lower time frames and just kind of make that routine. I think that could really help fix that. But yeah, in hindsight, you can see that as a really nice head and shoulder pattern. So I would expect more downside down for pound. Okay, so we'll go through Aussie for Pavinator. Diana, what is up? Hope you're well. Yes, we'll take a look at oil and CAD Swiss on the daily time frame. Okay, no problem. Long in these pairs. Okay, we'll take a look. Nice. Trev, yes, I did do Euro USD. I can go back quickly over it if you want me to. Follow the trend. What's up, my man? Hope you're well. Okay, sales and pound CAD. No support for it. Looks for buys at about, looking for, okay, 1.82. Okay, I'll go through pound CAD. It's an interesting pair, pound CAD. I think there's a big move happening for that one, but I'll go over it shortly. Anyway, so Aussie dollar, Pavinator said you're short on that one to 0.6450. Yeah, 6450, which would be about there. So, well, basically the swing low there. Not too far away. Of course, right now we're kind of testing the low end of the channel, so in a bit of an awkward position. Maybe we do bounce here slightly. But I do expect us to break through. I think your target's pretty reasonable, not looking for anything spectacular. Makes sense. Logically, price can get there. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of that. I think if I was managing a trade, and let's say if I was in at the highs, I probably would secure a little bit of profit here. I'm very much in the mentality of kind of locking your gains along the way. Doesn't have to be big chunks because, of course, you don't really want to affect your risk to reward, because if you're just closing massive chunks at every given opportunity, it's going to really skew your risk to reward up. But just paying yourself a little bit, especially those small winners, could add up. Definitely take care of commissions, and a few of them adding up can take care of a few losing trades as well. And also, in the situation where price does turn against you, instead of taking a break even, you do take a small win, which again does add up as well. So I would probably looking at a little bit of gains there, but again, that's up to you. You can manage the trade however you see fit. But yeah, in terms of your targets, I think pretty reasonable. We're expecting price to break to the downside. We've spoken about a lot of buys around the 0.62, 65 area. So that's kind of where I want to take some buys from for Aussie when the time's right. But I do think we're still likely to break lower. And I'm still very bullish on the dollar. So if the dollar is going to continue going lower, Aussie should continue falling. So I definitely do agree with the bias and the direction. Hopefully we can see that come to life pretty soon. Okay, so we'll go through oil and CAD CHF next. So CAD CHF, with this CAD CHF is interesting actually, because this one's actually coming from all-time lows. Let me actually double check that. I'm pretty sure we are. Yeah, we're coming from all-time lows. So yeah, CAD CHF coming from all-time lows, and I do think there is quite a lot of upside to it. We're actually just kind of consolidating. We just swept these lows here, and now since we've done that, we've just been consolidating for the past few days. I do think there's a lot of upside to be had. We did break out of this consolidation not too long ago. Didn't actually even come back for a retest of that either. I do think if we do see a sustained break to the upside, that is of course our first target for CAD CHF. It is a bearish market after all, but I do think a bigger pullback is due, especially when price only just about cleared the lows and then straight away went into consolidation. So I do think more upside is on the cards. There is resistance above us here. We've got to wait for the break of that. But I think if that does break, you're looking at some buys there. And a pretty kind of simple idea. Price is at all-time lows, consolidating. If we break to the upside with some healthy momentum, there's a good chance we do see more upside. And I'm actually looking at a similar opportunity on Swiss yen as well, which we can get to shortly. But a nice break to the upside, healthy momentum, good candle closures, simply a pullback and a retest. makes the most sense to me. Then you got this big zone here at 0.59250, which we've seen a lot of reactions in the past. I think that makes a good look for a first target or a complete target for the trade, depending how aggressive you want to be. But yeah, the way I see it, market's moving with a lack of momentum. We're dying, triple bottom, hit the lows. I do kind of favor a bit of a reversal here for CAD CHF. Oil's been pretty interesting as well. It's a little bit flat, I would say, but the key thing for me is that we are holding very critical level of support right now, which is basically keeping me bullish on the pair. As you can see, support over there, support over there, support over there, and again, support over here, which we're just about still respecting. So the way I would turn bearish on the way I would turn bearish on oil is if price was to break through that level at 65. So if price does break through that level there, I will fold my hands up, start becoming bearish, and I'll look for a push into the low there. But at the moment, we are still holding on support. I was actually looking for us to come a little bit deeper into this area, but we're doing a pretty good job anyway, and we've respected that pretty well. So let me move this out of the way. We know it's there. So I'd say in terms of opportunities for oil, if I was looking to buy it, I would probably wait for another drive lower. So this is, of course, where all the support is forming on the 4-hour chart. I'd wait for another spike into that area, another reaction before a buy. There could actually be some sells as price comes back into an area of supply here. You got 1, 2, potentially could see a third, which could help us out with the buys later on. There might be a sell there. Yeah, I actually don't mind it, to be honest, especially if you're looking at a lower time frame for entries to keep it short and sweet. So I actually don't mind the shorts there. But I think the bigger move is with the buys because we're basing on the higher time frames where we're trading the significance of the level. It makes more sense to be focusing on the buys, especially if you're looking for a swing trade. But you said you got into a long on the daily time frame. Almost forgot about that part. So yeah, nice bullish engulfing candle. I'd imagine if you get a stop loss underneath the lows here, you're in a good place because, of course, you're taking it off the reaction of that weekly level we just mentioned. So if you can get a stop loss anywhere around the kind of 63.50 area, maybe just 64, but I'd probably have it below 64. If you can get a stop anywhere around there, nice entry on that candle. Target's kind of back into resistance up here. I think you're looking at a decent trade with a decent return on the trade as well, risk to reward. So I'm liking the idea there for oil. Massive level we're trading off. As long as we can stay above that, yeah, I'd be bullish there for oil. If price was starting to break through, we can reinvestigate and potentially switch our bias around. But from a daily perspective, very happy. I like the entry. Nice double bottom, strong bullish engulfing candle. Hopefully more momentum is to come. In terms of CAD CHF, because I didn't really look at that on the daily chart. You said you entered the long on that one as well on the daily. Nice bullish engulfing candle. I would suggest with this one, watch out, because although, yes, we did form a nice bullish engulfing candle, we kind of just still did close into resistance there. So essentially, you're still within the range, really. I know momentum is picking up, but sometimes it's difficult to read into momentum in ranging markets because it can be deceiving. So the key thing you're looking for with this trade is really the break of that resistance. If you see the break of that resistance, you're in business, and probably this is your next target to aim for. Maybe some other targets you might have in mind as well, especially from a daily perspective too. But yeah, the break of that level does open up the door to the next area. If price doesn't break through that level, you could probably see another swing back into support again. Again, if you've got a stop loss anywhere around here, you should be good. If price doesn't end up breaking through that, you probably want to stay out of the way anyway. Probably see another wave to the downside before we do turn around. So you want to be careful of that. But yeah, CAD CHF, I like the idea. Oil, I like the idea as well. I think I like the entry in oil a little bit better. CAD CHF is still kind of in the middle of some noise. I do think we can break to the upside. I do expect us to, but we haven't yet, so we've got to be careful. But yeah, I do like the idea on both of those trades. Okay, so where was I? Pound CAD, follow the trend. We'll go through pound CAD next. Have I missed out a pair? I don't think I have. No. So we'll go through pound CAD next. Looking for buys at 1.82 area. No problem. We'll take a look. BTC down. Sure thing. We'll take a look at that one. Good morning, Malik. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Pavinator, I'm doing okay. Trading stop loss, nice. I have it about 50 buckaroos at the moment. Nice. So managing risk. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Again, there's more than one way to manage risk. Trading stops, taking partials. However you want to go about it. There's kind of real no right or wrong answer, really. Again, that's one of the good things about trading is that it's very, very kind of unique to however you want to do it. But I'd always recommend managing a position because you don't really, because I used to be in the mindset that, okay, if you take a position, you kind of just want to see it out regardless of what price does. But as I've gained more experience, I've come to learn that, managing a trade as you go along is the more optimal thing to do, because with every new candlestick that prints, you get more information. So you might jump into a trade with the expectation of price going to this area, for example, but let's say along the way you're starting to get a lot of rejection, a lot of wicks. It looks like price is really struggling to get there, and then it does turn around. It's kind of like, well, you got all the signs there that price is really struggling to push to your level. Maybe a sign to not even close the trade early, but move a stop loss to break even, trail a stop loss, take partials off, whatever it could be. That you want to manage the trade and how you want to do that, but you're getting new information that says, okay, maybe price isn't probably going to go and hit your original target. You want to be proactive to that. So however you want to manage it, as long as you're managing it, really. But hopefully we can see more downside. I think we will. So let's wait and see. But we do have a lot of news this week as well, which could put a spanner in the works. So definitely to keep an eye on that. Jay Huntley, just announced an Aussie dollar. I'm just curious as to why you're wanting to short it when it did break the high on the daily, showing bullish momentum. Wouldn't going short go against the major trend? Good question, Jay Huntley. I'll go through pound CAD and BTC quickly, then I'll go and answer your question, Aussie dollar. But it's a good question because, of course, the trend is up. So I'll tell you my thought process. Malik, which platforms do you use to journal? Well, I've used a few at the moment. I'm using Edgewonk, which is like an online journal, which allows you to kind of record your trades. It calculates stats for you, so win rate, risk to reward. I mean, there's actually a lot of kind of metric it keeps track of, which I don't even use, to be honest. So it's quite detailed. But yeah, it allows for a lot of kind of flexibility with your journaling, text, screenshots, notes, amendments if you want to look to do that as well. So I do recommend Edgewonk. You can keep it old fashioned as well, just a Word document. Even writing it down, really, if you want to go very old fashioned. But I would recommend including screenshots because you do learn quite a lot from visual feedback. So you can go very old fashioned if you want to, but I'd say a Word document or something of that nature is good because you can always screenshot as well and whack it in there as well, and write some text about it too. So it doesn't have to be anything special, really. In terms of back testing, TradingView, I've used it for the past few years now. Nothing special, just using the replay tool on TradingView. Again, I'm not as heavy as in terms of recording every specific data about the back test. I'm also kind of doing it for an eye test and kind of just looking at the general kind of tendency of winning, the general kind of risk reward I can get with positions, how they kind of play out, how I can manage them as well. And TradingView replay tool has been very effective for me for the past few years as well. But there's other softwares you can use which is a bit more detailed. FX Replay, I've dabbled with that, but TradingView has been okay for me, to be honest. Anyways, let's go through pound CAD and then I'll take a look at BTC and Aussie. So pound CAD, with this one, I'm kind of looking for some downside. I do think price is getting ready for a bit of a spillover. We've been bullish for quite some time. To me, it looks like we're running out of steam a little bit. We had this big bullish candle over here last, a few weeks ago now. I think that's kind of like our last kind of anticlimactic buy or last push in this uptrend. And I do think price is now going to see somewhat of a downtrend. There is some support we have to be careful of around this area here. You can see it much better on the 3-day chart. A lot of support here, but I think when that does break, if it does break, of course, we've got probably a clear route back to the lows here at 1.8. And I do expect us to break through that support. So at the moment, I'm pretty bullish. I'm pretty bearish, sorry, on pound CAD. I do think more downside is likely coming, is likely inbound. I'm not looking to follow the uptrend. I think the uptrend's running out of steam. It's looking very fatigued, very fatigued, and not really seeing much momentum anymore. So I do think it's a trend that's likely to push down. Pound CAD and Pound USD are very similar markets as well. I think Pound USD is potentially getting ready for somewhat of a reversal as well. So I do think we're going to see a bit more downside now for Pound CAD, and 1.805 would be my next big target. I know you said you're looking for buys, you're looking for price to take out some liquidity a little bit lower, and buys around 1.82, so around here somewhere. I think that does make sense in terms of the buy, because there would be a lot of stops underneath here, and if price can go and smash into that, that probably will give us a bit of a reaction. But that's kind of only what I'm expecting. More of a reaction, more of a pullback for us to continue falling. I'm not quite convinced that we're going to push down, see another massive higher low, and fly to the upside. That could be the case. Again, I can't see into the future, but based on how the trend has been operating, I do think we are kind of coming into our last legs, and I'm more kind of interested with the short. So personally, I'm looking for something like this for more downside. I still think buys from that 1.82 could make sense, but I think it probably end up being a pullback rather than a complete reversal. I think what would be a bit more interesting and a bit more maybe high probability, but it means you'd be getting to the trade a little bit later, as if price does flush into 1.82, takes out some liquidity there, and then it recovers this level. I think that would be very significant, and that would actually make me pretty bullish on pound CAD, because then we've done exactly what you said in terms of taking out liquidity, tap into that area, then we've recovered that area. Then I would be expecting something like this in the near future. So the buys here would be of quite high probability, because you've dodged the fake out really. Prices are back above healthy support. Then I'm expecting a continuation, and maybe this bullish trend does continue. So from a bullish standpoint, that's kind of really what I'd be more interested in. You're right, we could definitely flush the downside, take out liquidity, then recover and turn bullish again. But I would wait for something like this before entering buys. This is kind of like just anticipating all of that. Of course, it gives you a better entry, better risk reward. It's just a bit more aggressive, that's all. And if price doesn't do that, if it just does respect resistance and rolls over, well, I'm expecting more downside off the back of that. So I can see a world where that pound CAD opportunity does happen in terms of the big buys, but I would wait for the kind of later entry, the pullback entry, rather than try and pick the bottom, just because it's a bit more aggressive, difficult to do. Of course, more rewarding if it does work out. But I'd rather wait for kind of the pullback opportunity. But I can see your logic there. In terms of BTC, so Bitcoin, very very interesting for Bitcoin. Being pretty flat for a while. Nice wick to the downside, I must admit. That was last week Friday. I say little, so it's quite big. Big wick to the downside, quite aggressive. It's interesting, we've had a big aggressive wick to the upside and to the downside now, 1, 2 there. So this is just pure consolidation for BTC. I would still be very bullish for the market. There's no signs of reversal coming to the market just yet. We've had a lovely break to the upside. I know we're quite overextended, but I could imagine where Bitcoin fluctuates and just sees another breakout and we're on our way. So BTC, I'm still pretty bullish on. But again, in terms of actually trading this, you have to kind of trade what's in front of you. Yes, the market's still bullish, but we're sideways as anything right now. So you got to respect that, completely. So in terms of opportunities, there might be some nice buys off the low again. But again, just looking to really just take advantage of the range and then probably be done with it. Maybe lock in some gains at the highs and leave some to continue just in case we break out. But that's about it really. And likewise with the highs as well. If you're looking for shorts back at 120k, it makes a lot of sense. I see a nice fluctuation there. I would wait to see if we can get a sustained breakout to the downside or to the upside before looking for kind of any trend following or momentum following opportunities, any kind of break and retest opportunities. I'd wait for a sustained breakout, whether to the upside or to the downside, before getting involved. At the moment, for me, this is just the market's had a massive impulse and now it's just in a pause. I would anticipate it to break to the upside, but we'll wait and see. If you're looking for opportunities in the meantime, there are opportunities, pretty much just buying low and selling high, trying to pick the low of the range, trying to sell the high of the range really, not trying to overcomplicate it more than that. So that's what makes the most sense to me with BTC. And as long as we're in the range, we'll kind of get ready for price to break out. In terms of Aussie dollar, so I'll answer Jay Huntley's question. So why am I looking to sell it? Why are you waiting to short it when it did break the high on the daily, showing bullish momentum when you're going against the trend? So yeah, I can see the logic there, because we did of course break the high here, and quote unquote we create a higher high. So technically that's a bullish, a bullish pattern. You're seeing higher highs being created. But previously on the stream I was mentioning in terms of behavior, because market structure is one thing, higher highs and higher lows are one thing, but how we're creating higher highs and how we're creating higher lows is another thing, and combining the two is actually what gives you really good opportunities and a good understanding of what the market's actually doing as well. So just creating higher highs isn't going to make me bullish on the market. It's how we do it. If I'm seeing the market create big swings to the upside, smaller pullbacks, taking their time, corrected pullbacks, impulsive moves, this is something of a healthy trend which I'll look to follow and anticipate pullbacks and buy the dips. If I'm seeing a market that is moving like this with frequent pullbacks, not really taking out the highs by much distance, so we're only just about taking out highs, which is exactly what price is doing here. This is clearly a different type of market condition compared to the one we just mentioned. They're both doing the same thing. They're both creating higher highs and higher lows, as we can see. They're both heading to the upside, but this is clearly a market which is quite fatigued, quite tired, probably getting ready to actually see some downside. Or at least one thing, I'm not looking to buy it because it's a very tired market, especially in FX as well. It's not like it's indices where, indices can kind of grind higher for quite a time before they do have their correction. FX is a different ball game. We're quite flat on average. So when things are quite tired, we do tend to reverse anyway. So in terms of following a trend, I want it to be quite healthy before I do that. And things are looking quite tight like this, frequent pullbacks, deep pullbacks, aggressive momentum in the pullbacks as well, not much momentum in the upside. This is a market which I wouldn't be looking to buy, and a market which I'm kind of getting ready to sell. I could try and look for some aggressive trades, which would be shorting at the highs here. This would be more of an aggressive trade because, again, you're picking the tops essentially. It makes sense though because of how price is moving. We're only just about taking out the highs, and every time we do that, we come straight back down. So there's logic there with the shorts at the high. Certainly in terms of, if you compare it to shorting at the highs here to trying to short a bullish trend like this, this is where you're getting in the way of a runaway train almost. Whereas in these conditions, you can kind of anticipate the highs a lot better. But anyway, that'll be a more aggressive trade. A more conservative trade is waiting for price to kind of break out structure first, then look for some lower highs to short and take some shorts off the back of that. Essentially, to summarize everything, the reason why I'm looking to short is because this trend is very, very fatigued and running out of steam. It's not a trend which I'm looking to follow. It's simply just a trend which is showing a lot of signs of fatiguing and running out momentum. Therefore, it's not a trend I'll look to follow, and a trend which I'd rather be looking to get ready to sell, whether it's at the highs here, which is the more aggressive trade, or the more conservative idea, which is waiting for price to break out and take some shorts on the way down off the back of that. And I'm pretty bullish on the dollar as well. The dollar, I'm expecting dollar to reverse, which is a nice added confidence to the idea. The dollar's now starting to put some higher lows into play. So if the DXY is going to start trending to the upside, well, it means that, okay, dollar's going to be relatively strong. And if the dollar's going to be strong, probably Aussie dollar is going to push down because, of course, they're inversely correlated. You got a strong dollar, probably might see some weakness with the Aussie as well. That should encourage Aussie to fall. So that's also a nice layer of confidence. But that isn't the reason why I'm looking to short Aussie dollar. It's mainly because of this analysis, which is why I'm looking to short it. But the added confidence of knowing that USD is probably going to be strong, is the cherry on top, really. So hopefully that answers your question. But it's a good question because, of course, why not follow the trend? But especially in FX, you got to be careful which trends you do follow and at what point you do follow the trend as well, because trends are great to follow, but what phase of the trend are you in? Is it coming to an end? Has it been going on for a while? It's starting to show signs of tiring. And especially when if you zoom out, look at the bigger picture, Aussie dollar is just a very, very choppy pair as well. And it's a pair which has actually been trending to the downside very lightly for quite a while. So it's not a market which I want to be buying. So yeah, hopefully that made sense. What's up, CS Integrators? Hope you're well. Broke 98.5, but still holding nice. Yeah, I think we're due a lot more upside for the dollar. I'm actually now looking for buys now for USD. So if I can get some pullbacks, pretty much on euro or pound USD. I mean, I don't mind the Aussie dollar, but what's the name? Euro and pound look a lot better. So I'll wait for pullbacks on those pairs before looking to short. Dollar CAD I quite like the look of as well. Dollar CHF maybe I'll go take a look at that one in a moment as well. But yeah, USD looks pretty strong to me, so I'm banking on more strength there. What's your new target for USD now? Are you expecting a push to like 100 or 99? Or are you looking to take USD to? No problem, follow the trend, happy to help. Yusuf, I did do high temper analysis, just didn't notice it, maybe because the left shoulder was a bit of consolidation. Okay, but I didn't know the supply zone, you pointed out things. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I guess that just comes with experience then, to be fair. But that's good that you did start on the higher time frames, Yusuf, because that's a good practice you want to get into. Excuse me. So yeah, that's a good point. But I mean, the pound USD supply zone wasn't kind of in your face, like noticeable. It was a little bit more minor, but still an area which you kind of want to be cautious of. You can see it probably a bit better in the daily chart because you can see it's kind of represented with all these wicks and small kind of body candlesticks, and eventually you get that big red one breaking through. So that's clearly an area where we've been moving sideways, not much momentum, then suddenly, boom, the market does break to the downside. And of course, that will be an area of supply, which of course you can see prices tapped into now and has headed lower. Of course, not every supply zone is going to give you a reaction like that. Some will break to the upside and not be respected. Of course, in this case, they were. But the thing is, as a trader, you just want to be able to anticipate those things. But yeah, I think that's just a learning point there, Yusuf, to be honest. You did start on the higher time frame. That's great. In terms of the supply zone, I think that's just a lesson learned, to be honest, which is something you should add to your arsenal when you grow as a trader. And again, I was in that point at some point, pretty much a trader as well. So yeah, keep an eye on those areas. I think it's shown a bit better on the daily. If I drop to the 4 hour, it's not as clear really. Yeah, so I can see kind of why it's easily missed. But sometimes flicking through the time frames, looking at the candlesticks, it becomes a little bit clearer on certain time frames. What's up, Kizzy? Welcome to the stream. Voice is very croaky today. No, I don't, Kizzy. And yes, I do full-time trade. Okay, no problem, Jay Huntley. Appreciate your time explaining that. No problem. Again, it's just my preference as a trader as well, because there are buying opportunities to follow Aussie to the upside as well. I'm not saying you can't look to buy it. It's just with those signs, I'm kind of getting ready for the move to the downside, which the funny thing is, it may not happen as well, or it may take quite a while before it does happen too. So in that time, there might be some buying opportunities, certainly on the smaller time frames, to take advantage as well. So I'm not saying there is no buying opportunities or you shouldn't look to buy. It's just that's the reason why I'm looking to sell, really. Season grade, okay, 99, fair enough. Nothing too crazy. 99 is okay. We only just missed 99. We got to, actually no, we did hit 99. Yeah, we just about hit 99 there. Unless you're looking for this high here, which is kind of like 99.2.3, which I mean, we only just about missed that as well. But yeah, I think dollar's likely to continue as well. I don't really have a specific target. I think maybe 100 could be something to look into. Big psychological level. I think maybe price might be attracted towards that. To be honest, so I think maybe 100 could be something of interest. But yeah, I would say that high makes sense there. To be honest, some other levels we could target, I think those are a little bit more kind of, ifs rather than kind of likelies. So I'll be more cautious with those, but a push that area, I think we're pretty likely to get there. I think 100 is fairly likely as well. And we'll see where we go from there, because I'm not too sure about sustained bullish move here for the DXY in terms of like a complete reversal. I'm also kind of just looking to buy because I'm expecting the trend, which has been heading to the downside for quite some time, to be a bit tired and look for a bit of a breather. And that's really what I want to take advantage of. If it does turn into reversal, it turns into reversal. If it does continue lower, I'll start to look for some sells again at some point. Okay, so we'll go through pound yen for Forex mastery. Okay, take profit to 99.282, which is resistance also for the DXY. I think that's this level now. Yeah, around there. Yeah, so it makes sense to me. I would expect us to get to that level eventually. I think we're going for a bit of a pullback now, but I think we're pretty likely to see some more upside. I quite like the momentum as well. It's very, very decisive momentum. So I think there's a pretty high chance we do continue. And if the dollar does fall, that hopefully presents some nice opportunities on pound, euro, for some shorts on those, and maybe some buys in dollar CAD as well. Malik, what are you doing before trading, and when did you realize you can become a full-time trader? Good question. Well, before I was actually just full-time student, really. So I wasn't doing anything too crazy, but I was in university at the time. And yeah, I mean, it was just kind of just looking at consistency wise in terms of kind of my averaging monthly returns, really. And the support from my parents as well did help quite a lot, to be honest. So that was a very pivotal factor. I know a lot of people has that, but very, very crucial in terms of the growth for me, going from a student into trading straight away. But yeah, I mean, before I was just a student in university. Jay, yep, we'll take a look at gold as well. Gold on the 15, okay. Again, gold's still within the range, so I'm still not a big fan of gold, but I will go through it. A lot of people still asking for gold. Has anyone actually been enjoying the price action of gold recently? Raheel, Eurocad, okay, we can take a look at that as well. Have I missed out a pair? Okay, I was supposed to take a look at pound yen, wasn't I? If I have missed out a pair, someone's requested, drop it in the chat, let me know. Yeah, because I feel like I might have forgotten. Anyway, we'll go through pound yen. So yeah, with pound yen, yeah, I did talk about this one earlier. Someone mentioned this one on the 30-minute chart. It's just said because we're practically ranging. Keep it very, very simple, short and sweet. Look to buy low off the low of the range, and there's a couple levels there to lock in some gains at. But from a bigger picture, from a swing bias, which is kind of what I'm looking at pound yen in, I'm looking for a big swing back to the highs here at 207. That's where I'm looking for price to get to. So I'm very, very bullish on pound yen. I think a lot more upside is likely. I think the yen pairs have got a lot more upside to them. Pretty bearish on the yen itself. So I'm getting ready for some buys. However, price is really stuck at resistance right now. So, I have to be careful here because we could still pretty much sell off here. So I'm waiting for us to get something like this of a breakout, something similar to what happened with Euro Yen. If you can see a nice clean breakout like that, then I would be more than happy to look for some buys, some pullbacks, and then on our way back to highs there eventually, hopefully. So pound yen, I think there's a lot of upside potential, but not confirmed yet. The break of that resistance is quite pivotal before I can look for any buying opportunities. At the moment, we're just flat. We're going to see how long that continues for. It's been a couple of weeks now. It's been moving sideways. If you're looking at any opportunities in the low time frames, you're kind of just looking to buy low and sell high, really. My biggest advice would just be avoiding to trade within the middle of the range, because that's what all the noise is, the choppiness, the indecision will be, and you're just not going to get good areas, good areas to place your stop loss. You're going to be very, very kind of vulnerable to just random wicks taking you out of the market. So be careful of that. But if you're looking for some kind of smart buys away from the noise, at critical support based on how conditions are forming, I like the support level here on the 30-minute chart, 197.6. If you can see a move there, some healthy rejection like we did previously, I think that's a smart place for a buy, especially if you're just looking for a trade for the day or maybe for a day or two, depending how well the market reacts. But I think that's a smart place for a buy. But if you're looking for a bigger swing trade, yeah, it's just really just waiting for resistance to clear, and then we should be on our way. Okay, so we'll go through gold next, and we'll take a look at gold in the 15 as well. Eurocad, we'll take a look as well. Samueli. Anyway, what's up? Hope you're well. Hope I said your name correctly. Pound CHF, yep, we'll take a look at that one too, no problem. Anyway, so gold, yeah, not the biggest fan of gold recently. Price action just been very flat and all over the shop. Of course, we did respect the highs there. We came down pretty hard. Nice move to the downside, back into support there. And yeah, the only logical place I see for a buy really for gold is down here. Again, a bit more of like a trade, like a 4-hour time frame, but it makes sense kind of universally because this is kind of where we've got somewhat at the low of the range. So even if you are on the 15-minute chart, I think this is still a great place to be looking for buying opportunities because you're right at the low of the range. Your price is either going to break out of the range or respect it. And either which way, I think there will be some nice opportunities. So if you can see a move back into this area, we have really critical support in this area here. I think that's a great place for a buy and an area which we can definitely see some upside from. If price does end up breaking through this, well, we got support below us there. I also think this is a nice place for a buy too. So it depends what the market wants to do, but those are the two areas that make sense. Critical support, big turning points in the market. We know the higher time frame trend is still bullish. So this is really where you want to base your longs from. So I'm still very bullish on gold, but just waiting for us to push into areas where we're not in noise. We can get stop loss underneath safe areas, and I can maximize my risk reward as well. Trying to find opportunities in here is a quick way to give money back to the market. Yeah, it's just not going to be a great place. I'm not saying you can't find a profitable trade here. It's just you're going to have to work a lot harder for it. So yeah, I would be quite cautious about getting involved here. On the 15-minute chart, has been a pretty nice trend on the way down. We have just gone and taken out some lows here. Maybe we just continue falling on the way down to that support level. Would I look taking shorts based on that? No. I know price is coming back into a nice area of supply. Would I should look to short from there? No. I just don't think it's an effective place based on the fact that we've just taken up the lows, based on the fact on the conditions we're trading in. We might see a reaction, but I wouldn't look for a sustained move. I'll probably look for a bit of a scalp if I was looking for a scalp. Maybe a reaction for like 3 or 4 candles and then I'm out the trade really. So I think that could make sense there if that's what you're looking for. But really, I just don't see much value in what price is doing and where we're trading. So really, I would stay away. Not every market should be traded. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. All I'm trying to say is that every market is going to have times where there's great opportunities and there's no opportunities at the time. Now, I wouldn't suggest there's no opportunities, but I wouldn't suggest there's any good ones. And I'm a big believer of quality over quantity in trading. So I would stay away from gold until we at least push back into some critical areas of support and we can probably base some better trades off there. Okay, so EuroCAD I will take a look at next, and then we'll go through pound CHF as well. Raphael shorting oil now on the 1-hour chart. Okay, we can have a look see about that. Lauder, good morning. Hope you're well, or good afternoon. Hope you're doing good. GA, no problem. We can take a look at that. Another pair which I'm interested in trading. It is on the watch list currently. Let's take a quick look at EuroCAD. So EuroCAD had a big sell-off. Ooh, quite a big rejection there as well. Big wick there. But anyway, we had a really big sell-off yesterday. Of course, you can see the ginormous bearish candle there. And again, I've pointed out that for EuroCAD, we're trading in a very kind of significant area. If you look at what we're doing here, this is a massive level of resistance. If you look around us here, you got massive resistance once, twice, a third time. This is the monthly chart, by the way. So it's not any resistance level. It's a pretty significant one. Of course, you don't want to be in the expectation that, okay, just because it's a monthly, it has to respect the level. Of course, price will still break through levels on the monthly chart. But what you can say is that this is a pretty significant level, and so far we're still respecting it. And if we do turn around, we could probably see a pretty big sell-off. So you're kind of looking for signs if the market is going to reverse and turn around. At the moment, we're sort of seeing that. You can see price becoming quite corrective, only just about taking out highs before reversing here. You can see took out highs there, came back down, took out highs here. Looks like we could be getting ready to come back down there as well. I would say if we can break through support here, this looks to me like a big consolidation now, really. If price can break through support there, I would say this becomes a very nice short opportunity on the way down. I know price is respecting support and there could be a nice bounce here, but I would keep it very short term. So I would say if I can get a push to the 50% of the range, so let's measure this using a fib. So that to me is like the 50. Oh, didn't mean to do that. So that is the 50% there. So if you look to buy here, which I think is actually an effective buy, I know you're kind of trading in that monthly resistance level, but the idea is that you're looking for a reaction off this low and you're going to be in it for the short term. You're not looking for a big swing trade. You're in resistance here. You can see a reaction, but you're not looking to try and marry the trade here. So I think based off that humongous wick we've seen, looks like momentum shifting in the new 4-hour candle that's just live. It's still got 2.5 hours before it does close, but if we can close similar to how it's looking right now, I think that's an effective buy signal, and a push to the 50% I think makes sense, and you can probably walk away for probably at least a 1-to-1 there. Yeah, probably just about 1-to-1, which again, as we discussed earlier in the stream, is probably the lowest kind of risk reward. I would say is something you probably should go for. Anything less than a 1-to-1. Again, if you go a little bit lower than 1-to-1, like a 1 to 0.9, even a 1 to 0.8, is a negative risk reward. But the idea is that you're not doing this all the time. It's just unique to the market you're trading. Just like some trades you would take, maybe it's a 1-to-4, and it makes sense for it to be 1-to-4, and the 1-to-4 will make up for the negative risk reward you have in this trade here as well. So it's not the end of the world if it is slightly below a 1-to-1. At least you just don't want to do it consistently, because then that would just dramatically lower your risk reward on average and definitely skew your data up, because then you'll need to win a lot more to actually compensate for that. So yeah, if it is a little bit lower than 1-to-1, not the worst thing in the world. I think it's still a good probability trade. But yeah, I would say the 50% is where you want to lock in some gains, remove risk, and then maybe you close half there, and then you leave the other half to run back to the higher end of the range. So you could lock in half at the 50% point, which is there, and then you close the rest over there. And I would say is a good way to manage the trade, because on the higher time frame, this is a big area of resistance, so I gotta be cautious. It's not like we're trading a big area of support. That would provide a bit more strength to the buys. The location of where we're trading, the fact that we just spiked through some highs there as well, I would say those are some red flags. So I like the buy short term for EuroCAD. Long term, be careful. If you are going to take some buys, close eye on the management side of things. I know the trend is up, so that's kind of what makes the buys actually not bad. But based on the location of where we're trading, there's a lot going against you. So you want to be a bit more conservative with the trade. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with with EuroCAD. Okay, let's go through pound CHF next. Okay, so pound CHF, an interesting one, still trading into massive support on the weekly chart. So yeah, I think there could be some buys coming up here for pound CHF. We're looking very, very tired, I must say. Yeah, we've been heading to the downside pretty well. Very consistent with the lower highs, but now we're starting to slow down. I do think we can see price, see some upside here. So I will be getting ready for some buys. There's no kind of break of structure yet or shift in momentum really. I mean, this was a nice kind of sell to buy there, but I'll wait for us to kind of clear the highs first and then go put some higher lows in. Then that would be the buy I look to follow. I wouldn't be looking to sell anymore. The market is too tired, too fatigued right now. We're seeing frequent pullbacks, deep pullbacks as well. Not really much momentum anymore for the sellers. So I would not be looking to sell. And of course, the big elephant in the room, price is trading at a massive, massive area of support. So that would, of course, definitely put me off any selling opportunities. So for those reasons, I'll only be looking to buy pound CHF. So I'll wait for us to break higher, then look for some pullbacks and then some longs. And I'll keep it short and sweet because I know that the overall trend, the overall momentum for pound Swiss is still to the downside to somewhat of a degree. So I wouldn't be looking for a crazy swing to the upside. Maybe a push back to resistance here on the left, 1.805. That could make some sense there. But yeah, pound CHF, not interested in sales anymore. We're very tired. Pushing into a big level of support. Looking for the reversal makes a lot more sense. Waiting for the price action first, at least, not just buying straight away. And I hope you can find some higher low. The higher low might even come on like a break and retest of the highs here as well. So it might not be a deep test like this one. So be aware of that. It might just be a retest of the level here before continuing. But yeah, I'm only interested in buying pound CHF if I was looking to trade it. In terms of oil, Raphael, you mentioned shorting oil now on the hourly chart. I would probably wait for a bit more upside personally. Kind of lining up with the trend line there. I'll see if I can get another stab higher. I like the idea of shorts on the lower time frames. I think it does make sense. And I kind of like how we're moving as well, but I think I would like one more kind of push higher before looking to short. And again, the idea would be trying to catch like a third lower high here. 1, 2, perhaps 3. And then from there we do roll over. So I can see the logic there with shorting oil on the lower time frames especially, but I would probably wait for a push to 67.5. But I do like the idea. Okay, so I'll go take a look at GA next for Lauder. Yusuf, no problem. Okay, we'll take a look at UJ as well. Beautiful Heart, what's up? Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Danny, yes, we can do US 30. South side, we can take a look at US 30, no problem. Okay, first I'll go through Pound Aussie. So Pound Aussie, I'm pretty bearish on this one. I do think price can head low. I've talked a lot about the monthly chart and how it's starting to shape up. We've got the COVID highs here dating back to March 2020. We've recently spiked into that. We had a massive wick through April. Momentum starting to slow down. I do think price can go through a bit of a dip. So I am looking at some shorts here from a higher time frame perspective. Of course, as I do drop to the lower time frames, you can see we've been pretty much sideways, to be honest. So it's not like these shorts have come in well. And there's a lovely short to take. I'm kind of waiting on the breakout of this to the downside before I do really take some shorts for Pound Aussie. Otherwise, at the moment, we're kind of just sideways, and we could even see a swing back to the upper end of the channel. That could very much be the case as well. At the moment, we're kind of just messing around really at the low of this range here. I think if we continue to reject the low, it might end up being a nice buy, essentially just buying low and selling high. Nothing too crazy about that, and that could end up being a nice buy. If we do, of course, end up breaking through the zone and clearing it well, now, as I said, I will be very interested in the retest and expecting more downside off the back of that. But the market is still technically bullish. We're still trending to the upside, and we are still just about respecting support. The market is ranging and it's still not breaking the low. So if that does continue for a few more days, I can imagine where price will build up. Maybe eventually see a nice shift to the upside there. And maybe we see a full swing to the upside at 2.1. So Pound Aussie, I'm pretty bearish and I'm looking for a lot more downside, but it's definitely kind of relying on a sharp break to the downside and more momentum there. And then once I see that, then yeah, I'll be looking for some pullbacks and some more shorts. At the moment, not the case. So staying patient and just seeing what Pound Aussie does throw at us next, because maybe there are going to be some buying opportunities if we do continue to move sideways and close back above that level. Let me know what you're interested in, Lauder, for GA. Looking to sell or buy that one. Okay, so we'll go through dollar yen next for Yusuf, and then we'll go take a look at US 30 as well. No problem, beautiful heart. Good to hear. Good to hear. All right, take care, Malik. We'll catch you tomorrow. I appreciate you tuning in. Please like and sub, guys. Appreciate that. Yeah, let me just share some love to that on the screen. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Share with your friends. Hit the bell so you don't miss out on streams or uploads in the future. It does really help the channel out. And I do really appreciate all the kind of messages and the likes you guys do give, guys. So do really appreciate that. Lauder, no problem. Shall I wait for the bearish setup? Yeah. Cool. I'm looking for the bearish setup as well. I do think more downside is to come, but we're kind of just trading at this awkward area, which is not kind of letting me short the pair right now, because I'm not too sure if price is breaking through that level or actually bouncing. It's kind of 50-50. I know we did close below there on Friday, and then we kind of left a bit of a wick there on Monday, but looking at the 4-hour chart, it looks quite messy as well. Kind of had a weird gap to the downside there too, so I'm not too sure really if we're breaking through or respecting, and even if we are breaking through, we're not doing it well. So even if it is that, even if that's the case, I'm not going to short it because it's not a clear-cut opportunity. So pound Aussie, I do see more downside, but that support needs to go. Okay, let's look at UJ, then we'll go for US 30. So UJ as well, nicely bullish. We were talking about some buys with this one yesterday. Did we actually get a setup here or not? Yeah, sort of. I was talking about the retest of this range. Looks like we might have just tested it to the pit, really. So unless you kind of were switched on and taking the buy off there, maybe you call the trade, maybe not. But we were talking about the retest of this range here. Nice consolidation. Not the best breakout. I did mention that yesterday. I didn't say it was the cleanest breakout in the world. But it was a nice breakout. We did just about retest and continue. We are looking a little bit corrective now. See more frequent pullbacks, deeper pullbacks as well. Momentum's not really ripping through the highs anymore. You can see there's pretty much equal highs there as well. So it's a sign the market is starting to tire. If this momentum kind of rip through the highs like this, then okay, that will be a sign that, okay, the trend is still very healthy. Trend's still looking good. Probably a lot more upside to come. But the fact that we had a lot of momentum here just to go and respect the highs, yeah, a sign that dollar yen might be looking to run out of steam. I did say I'm looking for a push to resistance here, and that's still kind of where I'm expecting us to get to. But judging how we're looking the 15, it might be a kind of a corrective journey on the way up there. So something a bit more like this, on the way up, and then, I don't know, maybe we go for a bit of a sell-off. Who knows, we'll wait for us to make that move. So biggest takeaway for dollar yen, we're still bullish, but we're tiring, so I'm not expecting clean moves anymore. Might not even be worth trading, really. But I still do expect more upside to 149. Critical resistance. We did put that higher low on the daily chart. So the consolidation back here. Then we're going to put the higher low there. Now expecting us to push back into the highs. So the bias is still very bullish there for GJ. Still looking for us to push back into resistance. In terms of opportunity to trade the market, not even sure I'll do that, to be honest. Because I wouldn't really look at this area as a nice place of demand because we didn't create a new high. If we did create a new high, sure, but we didn't. This kind of area, maybe breaking through the lows, but again, it's just still very corrective, so it's not a great opportunity either way. So yeah, for dollar yen, I'd probably wait for something like this for a buy, or even just a double bottom at this low here, really. Price comes back, retest support, and then we take a bounce off that. Either of those two areas could make sense here. But the idea is, because we're very corrective now, we're looking for deep pullbacks. We don't want to be the first ones into the trade, especially when things are corrective. We want to be the last that actually takes advantage of the move. So this is really where I would operate in. And yeah, expectation, a push to 149. As for US 30, that's been relatively interesting as well. So yeah, US 30 has been relatively interesting as well. We did eventually kind of clear the highs here. Actually, did we? Yeah, we did. Let me just start fresh. There we go. I can see a bit better. So yeah, we did just about clear the highs. We did bleed a little bit, and I did say watch out for that because although US 30s are US indices do expect us to create new highs and continue flying. But at the same time, it is a very strong level of resistance. You can see price respect to this area once, big sell-off. Second time, big sell-off. Third time, I'm not necessarily saying there's going to be another big sell-off, but hey, there's an area of resistance. Be careful at that level. So I'll be careful there with the Dow Jones, but I do think we're still due higher prices. I can still see more upside. Drop into the lower time frames, really. I think I'd wait to see price kind of rally through the highs here and then look for some pullbacks afterwards. That's something I'd be interested to buy there for the Dow Jones. Otherwise, yeah, I would leave it alone because I'm not too sure if we were to go for another sell-off. Two very aggressive reactions, we could see a third. The markets are bullish. If you look at some of the other indices, S&P, NAS, they're still pretty bullish as well. They're probably due retracements as well, but we'll wait for that to be confirmed before we discuss further. I'm still seeing higher lows. I'm still seeing momentum, We are slowing down, yes, but if we can crack through the highs here, that will give us a bit more confidence to follow the trend further and continue buying it. So as for US 30, still bullish. We're in a very awkward place. So I wouldn't be looking to buy. I wouldn't really be looking to sell either. But if we can clear the highs well, see momentum, see some new highs created, sure, buys will look good. That big level actually will be turned to support, and the buys will make a lot more sense off the back of that as well. So that's really what I'd keep my eye on there for US 30. Hybrid, I do have a free course you can check out with Elevating Traders. I'll actually get the link up for you. If you go to the Elevating Traders Academy, there's a free technical analysis course there. I'll share the link with you in the chat. It goes through pretty much from beginner to you know what you're doing sort of stage. Of course, there's probably no course out there which just solve all your problems, but it definitely get you up to speed and you know what you're doing, and you can go from there and provide you with a platform to actually build and develop as a trader. But it covers pretty much everything about technical analysis, a lot of the common concepts that I use that you see in the stream. That's all pretty much covered there. How to read the market, how to analyze the market, also time frame analysis. How to develop a plan, how to develop a system in terms of how you want to trade, and developing your approach to the market, how to enter trades, exit trades, manage trades, all of that. So if you are interested in that, of course that goes for everyone on the stream. If you're interested to find out more information regarding those topics, there is a free course there, part of the Elevating Traders Academy. Click the link and you can sign up and check more and learn more about that. Okay, you caught the retest the range. Nice. Congrats, Yusuf. Well done. No problem. Happy to help. Okay, pound NZD we'll take a look at next. Danny, yes, we can go through NAS as well. Okay, so pound NZD. I haven't actually looked at pound NZD yet on the stream. So this one, yeah, very sideways, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And actually, no, I'll draw from here. And yeah, just taking its sweet time. I do think, again, we'll like to break to the downside. I view pound NZD in the same light pretty much as pound Aussie. They do mostly the same thing together. So I'm expecting this to fall. I'm expecting pound Aussie to fall as well. Really, which is in the middle of a range. So if you're looking to operate, you want to be buying at the low or selling at the high, regardless of your bias, really. So you're kind of just waiting for price to approach resistance or support right now. We're in the middle of all of it. So I would stay away. This is an area which I don't want to get involved in. I don't want to place trades in at all. I really don't even want to analyze, really. There's no consistency to the market. It's not like, okay, yeah, we broke structure now, so now we're bearish. We're not that at all. We weren't really bullish either. It's just a lot of nonsense. There's no consistency to the market, and that's just going to make it difficult to trade. The only consistency is us rebounding off the highs here and rebounding off the lows there. So unless we were to make our way to resistance or support, then yes, there could be some nice opportunities with pound NZD. But besides from that, in the middle, I would stay away. At least pound Aussie is back at support. Some buys make a lot more sense there. But in pound NZD, I'm not seeing absolutely anything here. So it's a ranging market. So if you're going to trade it, make sure you're buying and selling at appropriate areas and not just entering a market, just for the sake of it. But in terms of long-term move, I do think we can break lower. In terms of NAS 100, yeah, so NAS 100, yeah, just chugging away, flying to the upside. Not a care in the world, just absolutely plugging it to the upside. I did say we'll probably fill the gap. We just about did, and we're on our way. Didn't even waste any time there. I still like this area here for a pullback. Nice consolidation, big bullish candle breaking to the upside. Haven't really come back for a retest there. Kind of lines up well with this trend line here too. So if the market does decide to have a deeper correction, I think this would be a smart place to pick up some longs, see the next high low, and on our way, kind of moving within this channel here. if I can drag that across. So as we do approach the upper end, I would suggest the pullback is a bit more likely now for that. But you got to understand with the indices, we can do this for quite a while. You know, the markets are quite overstretched and a bit overextended, but yeah, it doesn't really matter, especially when they're in the season, especially when they're in their bullish climate. They can go on and on and on before we do see a bigger correction. So be careful with that. But I would be just focusing on the buys. I wouldn't be looking to try and sell the pair. So if you can get a bigger pullback into 23,150, I think that could open up the door to a nice pullback opportunity, swing it back to highs, and probably a lot further as well. We are due a pullback, but I wouldn't be looking to try and short that. I think I'll just stick with the buys and see how far we can take it. But yeah, in terms of the watch list, I've got a few pairs I'm looking at. Like I said, Euro USD looks really good. I like the shorts for this one. I'm going to keep an eye. I like the consolidation there. Pound USD, I'm going to keep an eye on shorts on that one as well. Expecting a lot more downside. In terms of dollar CAD, I'm looking at some buys there as well. This one has been consolidating for quite a while, but I do have the expectation that we're likely to break to the upside. This is some critical support resistance. I think once we break through that, I can be looking for retests and buys, some higher lows to ride it back into resistance there. And we'll see how far we can go from there onwards. I think some nice breakout opportunities on Euro CAD could look interesting. If we can break lower, retest it, I think there's some shorts there to be had. Swiss yen is something I'm interested in as well, because this has just recently created all-time highs. Well, I say recently, it's been doing that for quite a while. But the market's super stretched. This is the previous all-time high. I do think we can retrace, maybe even come back to retest the high. And if that is to happen, that's a pretty big drop there as well. So I quite like what I'm seeing here with Swiss yen. It looks to me that price is just basically consolidating. And if this is price putting a top, I want to see a strong break to the downside, a nice bearish candle. And from then onwards, we can look for our pullbacks and more shorting opportunities to ride it lower, back into 180. Aussie yen, something I still like the look of. If it can pull back, that would be fantastic. I know it kind of did pull back last week. But it was very shallow, not much in it. I'm looking for us to come and have a deeper test of this area, then find some buys off the back of that. I like New Zealand CAD to the downside as well, but staying patient with that one. We've got a lot of support below us. The price is still kind of trapped within the range. This is the support low. That's the resistance high. We've been back and forth. I feel like if we can go and clear that mess, then there will be some really nice shorts to take off the back of that. And I'll be expecting price to keep falling since then. And of course, pound Aussie, I'm expecting something similar there as well. So I'm going to keep a close eye on pound Aussie if we can break lower. But yeah, that does kind of sum up where my interest is. If I do get any positions, I will let you guys know. But that does bring us to the end of the stream, guys. I hope you have found it useful, enjoyed it. If that's the case, please be sure to drop a like. Before you do leave, show some love on the stream, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel. If you're enjoying the content, want to see more, and of course, definitely hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. I do want to thank each and every one of you tuning into the stream, chatting with myself, spending time with me here. So I do really appreciate that. And of course, I will be live again tomorrow, as I am every weekday this week as well. A lot of news coming up, so be careful with that. I think we'll pay a bit more attention to the news tomorrow. Today, nothing too chaotic, but rest of the week we do have a lot of noise, so we want to be cautious of that. So keep that in mind. But guys, I appreciate you tuning in for another stream. Have a great day. Drop a like before you do leave, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.